Today we're gonna watch the Trolls Infection AU. Take the Holy Bible before we do. Okay, we can watch it now.
A bunch of you told me that the Troll Infection AU created by Chair Noises was really creepy, and I didn't believe you at first.
Hold on. Before we can continue the video, we are going to give credits to Force.
Because I couldn't imagine a cute cartoon about singing and dancing trolls was going to be scary at all. But I should have listened because this AU is definitely one of the creepier and just more disturbing ones that I've read so far. And with that being said, this AU doesn't waste any time getting started. The first thing that we see is that Branch and Creek have gone missing, and many of the trolls have already fallen victim to some type of infection. Guy Diamond seems to still be healthy and has been tasked with taking care of the uninfected children because Queen Poppy has gone into a state of depression because the number of infected trolls have started to get out of hand, and also because Branch is missing. And for those of you that may not be familiar with the troll movies, Branch and Poppy are basically a couple. We also see that King Peppy has fallen victim to the infection as well, and we learn how here. Apparently, he was helping to treat Creek's wounds when he returned from the forest, but it seems like just by touching Creek, King Peppy was infected, which right off the bat makes this infection more dangerous than some of the other ones that we've read so far, simply because the infected people don't have to attack you in order to infect you. All they have to do is just get into contact with you, and then you're sick. And with this knowledge, the king ordered all the healthy trolls into Branch's bunker as a way to kind of slow the spread of the infection. But later on, it seems like Creek suddenly went missing again. And since the king is already infected, and he doesn't just want to wait around and hide from this issue, he decided to actually go out and try to find Branch and Creek himself, telling no one of his little solo mission. And at the end of the chapter, he finds Creek. And this is when I knew that this AU was going to be creepy, because this image right here is absolute nightmare fuel. In chapter 2, we're introduced to Bridget, who is a Bergen, and at the moment, it seems like they are immune to whatever virus is floating around right now, which kind of makes sense considering how much larger they are compared to the trolls. Bridget and the rest of Bergentown actually offers to allow the sick trolls to come there for medical care, and Bridget has even offered to allow Poppy to come and stay with her in the castle. We also see Biggie here, and it seems like when the trolls were being transferred over to Bergentown, he lost Mr. Dinkles. And this is why he's kind of freaking out here, and his sanity is down to 40%. And if you remember in the movie, these two were pretty much inseparable, and that would kind of explain why he's freaking out. Now, something that stands out in his stat sheet is the fact that his status says negative, but it also has a question mark, showing that his dwindling sanity may not just be from losing Mr. Dinkles, but also from the, infection actually setting in. In any case, this guy isn't able to sleep and ends up disappearing in the night, just like Branch and Creek did. Next, we get our first look at Cooper, who is already at stage 2, and it seems like he was one of the first characters to be infected, and we learn that the symptoms include white mold growing out of their fur, frantic pacing, color loss, body swelling, tooth decay, and vomiting. And one of the symptoms that I found the most odd is that they keep asking to take a bath. And this is my theory about this as of now. My first thought was that this virus was some type of cordyceps fungus like in The Last of Us. And since the trolls are so small, I assume that the regular fungus could infect them just like it does with insects and spiders, slowly taking over their bodies and turning them into mindless zombies. But after reading about the body swelling and the need for water, or aka a bath, I think that they also could be infected with like a hairworm or some type of parasite that is in that same family. And for those of you that don't know, a hairworm basically digs into the body of insects and then forces them to seek out water to drown themselves. And then the worm goes and mates in the water or fully matures in the water, makes its way back to a muddy area so it can latch onto another insect and basically do the whole process again. But in my mind, this kind of helps me make sense of why the trolls are just getting up and leaving and why they keep having this desire for water. I feel like whatever this fungus or parasite is craving water in order for it to mature or to grow to its full capacity. And while I'm not saying for sure that that is what happened with Branch and Creek, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case, especially when you consider that they're all still missing. But we do get to see that Biggie goes out to find Mr. Dinkles, and I honestly can't tell if this worm is dead here or infected, but I know that he looks terrible.
Yeah, he looks dead.
Lifetime makes it easy to buy a car.
Yeah. Weeks have passed, and Bergentown has become the facility for medical assistance and virus research. And while the Bergens still seem to be immune, they have learned that other species are able to catch this virus, which explains what happened to Mr. Dinkles. And with this knowledge, the citizens are preparing to go on a county-wide lockdown, kind of like we had to do when the 19 hit. And they are going down this route because the virus is spreading
COVID-19.
faster and they still have no idea how to treat it. We also see that Barb is on her way to see Poppy, and it seems like she's unaware of the virus. She basically just assumed that Poppy was just ignoring her all this time. But I think what is even more interesting is Floyd's stat chart here, which states that he fled Pop Village weeks before the first recorded outbreak and barricaded himself in his home. And his only contact with the outside world has been the internet. And low key, that is me half the time, and there's no virus keeping me in the house. But all jokes aside, this character does seem to know more about what's going on than the other people. But what I don't understand is why he didn't warn anyone if he had knowledge of what was coming. I also found it interesting that he says, please not the prisons. And I think that he's actually referring to the twins here, Velvet and Veneer, but it's hard to say for sure at this point in the series. Next, we see Delta Dawn, and she is at stage 3 of the infection, and we see that her sanity and her health are unknown, but I find it interesting that her thirst is at 0, meaning that she is craving water. And with that knowledge, it makes sense that her citizens found her inside the lonesome flat water tower. And when they tried to take her away from the